Hey there, happy campers, and we're back, this time with part 2, talking about the 7 to 10-year-old campers at camp and what they're like physically, cognitively, and socially. So this age group is my personal favorite to work with. I think these guys are great, and here's some of the reasons why. From a physical standpoint, campers at this age are really starting to get a pretty good handle on their fine motor skills, their little muscle movements. So whereas their younger counterparts were really into getting their entire body involved in their movements, 7 to 10-year-olds tend to want to stay in one place and move around very small movements, usually with their hands and usually manipulating very small objects with them. And similar how they like to keep their movements small and tight and in close to their body, they're also going to seek out, as sort of a comforting thing, smaller and more confined spaces. So this is an age where they're really going to seek out those small and confined spaces, forts, secret hideouts, tents, even just reading a book underneath the covers of their bed. That's going to be really soothing for them and really a sense of comfort, makes them feel safe, makes them feel secure. And then when they do make those big, large, grand, gross motor movements with their entire body or large limbs, especially in girls, these can tend to be kind of clumsy because growth spurts are starting to get in there. Because remember, girls do hit and start puberty earlier than boys. Shifting now to their cognitive development, this is where this age group really separates themselves from all of the other ones. These guys are really fascinated with the world as a whole. You see, prior to this developmental stage, kids are kind of really in their own little world like we talked about. They're kind of self-focused. How does everything affect them? Everybody else is kind of the players in the soap opera that is their lives. But somewhere around the ages of 8, 9, and 10, and it's different for every kid, they sort of just become aware that there's this big, huge world around them with lots of different moving parts. And so the big thing that they love to figure out at this age is, how do all of those big moving parts in the world interact with each other, and just how do they work? And at this age, their learning about the world around them and those interactions is best done tangibly. They like to learn through both discovery and exploration. They want to make these connections themselves, and they want to manipulate the things with their hands. They want to get their hands dirty and really dive into understanding it and forming those knowledges themselves. Which also explains why at this age, they are really into categorizing, organizing, and collecting things. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows in terms of cognitive development at this age, and it's not uncommon that in the quest to find order in the chaos that is the world, that a lot of perfectionist tendencies will try and creep in, especially in kids around the age of 9 or 10 on the upper end of this age spectrum. Kind of similar to how in the last age group we talked about how there need to be rules and that they're really big on the rules. Well, now instead of rules, it's order and structure, and everything must go in its place and everything must be how it's supposed to be. That's how this will tend to manifest itself. Shifting now to their social development, given their desire to make all of these connections themselves and to seek out confined space, well, it shouldn't really be much of a surprise that a child in this age group really prefers to work by themselves or in extremely small groups with maybe one other person. However, if they do want to work with one other person, it typically tends to be with a best friend. And they're really big on having best friends at this age. However, who that best friend is will tend to be pretty flexible and will change from day to day or from week to week. However, they do tend to be extremely loyal to the adults that are in their lives and important to them, which at camp tends to be you, their camp counselor. It's not uncommon to hear campers at this age arguing or boasting to their fellow campers about how their counselor is the best, or just straight up how they're better than the other kid's counselor. So how do you successfully work with these campers at camp and make sure that they have an amazing time? Well, rule number 1, let them get their hands dirty. They learn best by doing and by making connections themselves. Put them in situations where they are going to do the learning themselves and have that knowledge gaining happen organically, but you want to get them in there. This is not the age to sit them down and lecture them about how a concept works. Show it to them, have them use it with their hands, have them be doing as much as possible. That's how the knowledge is going to stick into their brains. Tying back into what I said earlier about their obsession with order and needing to know how things work, there are going to probably be campers in your group at this age who are obsessed with the schedule and needing to know what is coming up and what is going to happen next. So as their counselor, you're going to have to learn to strike this balance between teaching them how to live in the moment and also satisfying that need and figuring out how much of the schedule to let them know about what's coming up. But if I had to describe this age group in 3 words, it would be thoughtful intensity and adventure. They are super cerebral at this age, but they want to know everything and they want to soak it in like a sponge. Use that to your advantage. Don't be afraid to use the big vocabulary words on these kids. They want to repeat them back and they want to be able to demonstrate that they understand what's going on. They take a lot of pride in knowing what the answer is and being able to say that they understand what's happening. But like I said earlier, these are absolutely my personal favorite campers to work with. I love 7 to 10-year-olds, so give them a try. They might just be one of your favorites as well. All right, friends, that's going to do it for this part in the series. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you back again for part 2, where we're talking about 11 to 13-year-olds. All right, campers, lights out.